program. So Karen gets credit for it.
Okay, I'm here to introduce a man that needs no introduction. Troy Murray's our speaker today, and he's going to talk about Wreaths Across America.
Yay!
No, what you didn't tell them was this was not supposed to be a program. This was going to be a couple-minute talk to the club about the community service project that turned into a program.
It turned into a program. I don't know whether you need it or not.
I would rather not. Can y'all hear me okay? So, just brief background. About 6 years ago, I was asked on behalf of part of TFDA, or Texas Funeral Directors Association, to be a part of a Wreaths Across America ceremony at our state capitol in Austin. I attended the first one, and it was just such a moving experience for what we were there for, the purpose of what we were there for, to honor our veterans. I've had a part in each ceremony the last 6 years. Last year, we had a ceremony at Sunset Memorial Park here in Gilmer, which was our first ceremony at a local cemetery in Gilmer. And we will continue those ceremonies from this point forward. So a little bit of background about Wreaths Across America. It's a national nonprofit organization that was founded in 2007. Continues to expand the annual wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery, which was begun by businessman Merle Worcester, who owns Worcester Wreath Company. As a 12-year-old boy, Mr. Worcester went to Arlington National Cemetery and just noticed that there was a lack of wreaths or anything there that just reminded him of what our veterans did. You know, I mean, we're a land of the free because of the brave. You know, our veterans are a big part of this country, and I think that some of that sometimes is forgotten. So he, again, owns a wreath company in Maine, and in 1992 had a lot of wreaths left over and was trying to figure out, all right, what do we do with these live wreaths? So he had an idea that he'd take those wreaths to Arlington National Cemetery. So that little idea turned into a very large nonprofit organization. And today, 245,000 wreaths every year are laid on veterans' graves at Arlington National Cemetery. In 2012, the 1 millionth wreath was placed at Arlington National Cemetery. In 2014, for the first time, again, every headstone in that cemetery was covered with a live wreath. Last year, wreaths were placed in Normandy by the Worcester family for the first time. This year, our state association, our team, Texas Funeral Directors Association, has been asked to come to Honolulu, Hawaii, to start the first ceremony and to start the ceremonies from this point forward in Honolulu at the state capitol. We will be at the state capitol on Wednesday, this first Wednesday in December, to have a wreath-laying ceremony at the capitol. Texas, our group, for our efforts over the last 14, 16 years of doing this, has just been recognized by Wreaths Across America as one of the leaders in the Capitol ceremonies. We've conducted, again, at our state capitol, started on the state capitol steps. Last year we were on the House floor, which was the first time we've ever been on the House floor. This year again we'll be on the House floor. Last year I had the opportunity to introduce one of our guest speakers, our Texas Land Commissioner, George P. Bush. Taya Kyle, wife of Chris Kyle, Sergeant Chad Fleming, several others have been there to be our speakers. Every year we recognize one or two Gold Star families at the state capitol in Austin. Families such as Tanner Stone Higgins of Yanis, who was killed in Afghanistan. Robert Bear Bennett of East Mountain was shot down in Laos in 1966. His remains were not recovered until 2017. We recognized him last year. We also recognized Mr. Richard Overton, who at the time, at 112 years old, was our nation's oldest veteran. He was unable to attend our ceremony and died some short time later. For a little bit of why I'm so proud to go to Honolulu. My daughter, Brett, has led the pledge, several things we do in our state association. She led the pledge at our Wreaths Across America ceremony last year. I know some of you here, Mr. Steve, a couple others were at our ceremony. She led the pledge and sang the national anthem for us at our state leadership conference. Wreaths Across America has recognized her efforts in trying to teach and honor and remember our veterans, and they've asked her to come to Honolulu, Hawaii this year to lead us in the pledge on the Capitol steps. And then we will, on Saturday the 7th of December, prior to the memorial service at 7:50 a.m., a small group of us will get to go to the USS Arizona and lay a wreath there. So just a great experience. Another reason I am just 100% proud to be a part of this organization. And again, I mean, you know, the mission of this organization is to remember, to teach, and to honor. And again, just remembering our veterans and honoring them in these ceremonies. This year, about 1,500 cemeteries across the nation will hold a ceremony on the second Saturday in December, which is about the 14th. On the 9th of December, about 40 ceremonies will be held state capitals in the United States. And again, we're just moving Honolulu's up a few days prior to the memorial service there at Pearl Harbor. So now, why am I telling you all this today? So this, again, just near and dear to me, and I thought about some fundraising options, community service projects for our club. I talked to our board. I wanted to bring this to you all as our members. And again, this was supposed to be about a 3-minute little talk that turned into Karen's program somehow or another. So again, yeah, thank you very much. So again, this year we will have our second ceremony at Sunset Memorial Park Cemetery here in Gilmer. So again, the mission of Wreaths Across America is to try to, at some point, lay a live wreath on every fallen service member's grave in the United States. Now, obviously, that's going to take time. It's going to take years, and it's probably going to be past all of our time. But as a fundraising group, as an effort from this club, I think that we could, this year, probably lay a wreath on every service member's grave at Sunset Memorial Park. So I would like to see our club use this as a fundraising effort. Wreaths are sold. So how does that benefit the club? For every wreath we sell through this club, Wreaths Across America will donate $5 back to this club, which in turn, we could continue to honor our veterans by funding our flag project. I know that when I put flags out last week, some of our flags were pretty worn. We retired a few of them. You know, I don't know the exact number. We're working on that. That's going to be another community service project, maybe an Eagle Scout project or whatnot at our cemetery to find out exactly how many wreaths we need on our graves there. Could also order wreaths for any community cemetery in our community. So if you have a family member that's not at Sunset Memorial Park, it doesn't have to be that cemetery. That's just where we're going to hold a ceremony. It could be Gilmer City Cemetery, wherever that is. Wreaths can be placed there. They can be shipped to us. We'll make sure that those individuals receive those wreaths and get those wreaths placed. But again, I think it could not only help honor each and every veteran in our community, but it can also help us as a club doing our part for this community and to get something back, again, to help another project that we already do. So with that, thank you. Questions? Yes, sir?
How much are the wreaths if we sell them or buy them for ourselves, for individuals or for companies or what?
$15 a wreath. And again, they come from Worcester Wreath Company in Maine. They are live evergreens. They are shipped here. And then, of course, there's a little bit of...
How much did you say?
$15 a wreath.
And what's the date of the Gilmer event?
It will be the second Saturday in December. I think that's about the 14th.
Do you have order forms for us?
I'll get all of that. So again, this was part of me asking if our club wanted to participate, wanted to use this as a community service project, and then we will get all the forms. Wreaths Across America will actually help us with all of that paperwork, with all those materials that we need to get this out to the public.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea, and I'll speak for the club, I think it's something we should do.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a deadline for doing this sometime?
Not really. I mean, if we as a club, decide to do this, I'll contact Wreaths Across America through our contacts that we have, and I'll go ahead and I'll need a little bit of information from the club. I'll get us signed up for the fundraising side of that. Now, the ceremony at the cemetery that doesn't have anything, all that's on me to get that coordinated, but, with the efforts of this club and our community, I think that we can definitely start in one cemetery, and, who knows how far we take this in our community. Yes, sir.
There is some assembly once they come in, so it may take Rotarians coming together to kind of help assemble the wreaths. Not much to it, but it does take some time to do it, so if we sell quite a few, we'll need some help.
Well, they're sent to us on trucks from Maine in a box, and again, these are live evergreens with little bows on them. Obviously, the packing and the transportation of those are such that it needs a little bit of touch up, I guess, when they arrive here.
Sounds good.
How many veterans are deceased, whatever, at Sunset?
We're still working on that, Mr. Steve. So all of those records were not kept per veteran since 1950-ish. So really all we can do is to go out and look for military footstones or any military marker out there and count those. I think as we try to encourage every veteran's family to let us order a veteran's marker, or let the funeral homes order a veteran's marker to place in the cemetery, but not all do. So really all we can do at this point is to go out and identify them, how they're marked today. And then of course we could get a family call and say, hey, my granddad, great-granddad, whomever is there, may or may not have a marker. We can look through those records, Mr. Steve, and find that out.
So something's going to be put in the paper about it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I think once we've agreed on it today, so I'll make sure the club gets updated on everything we're going to do here and how we need to go about selling those wreaths. But again, as far as the ceremony, yes, that will all be published.
Can our corporate facilities here purchase a number of them to represent?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if, I know last year, First National Bank purchased several wreaths for former employees, bank directors and whatnot that were buried at Sunset Memorial Park. So yes, to answer your question, anyone, any company, whatever that might be, can purchase wreaths. Yes, sir.
Now, is this all through the state? So I mean, like, are there other areas that have trying to do what you're trying to do?
Wreaths Across America is a national nonprofit organization. So yes, there are about 12 to 1,500 ceremonies, Danny, across the United States and abroad, I guess, at this point, that will all happen second Saturday in December. On the second Monday in December, every state that participates, there's a ceremony at the state capitol. So yes, it's grown from one man's vision to a national organization that I'm just very thankful to be a part of.
Is this something that, for instance, let's say the club gets participated, some individuals want to make a donation of X amount of many dollars toward it?
If an individual wants to make just a monetary donation, yes, we can see that, whatever that equates to in wreaths are ordered and placed, if that answers your question, Randy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure there's some in here who probably, like myself, that'd be willing to give a little money toward it, because some of these veterans, you're not gonna be able to reach.
Understand?
families, I mean.
No, right, and it's, you know, so when we identify the graves at Sunset Memorial Park, you know, we will put that, obviously on our Funeral Home Crowley's webpage, Crowley Funeral Home's Facebook page, and in the paper that we're having that ceremony there. But no, you are right, there's no way to identify or make contact with all those families. So just as we did last year, we had some families mail us wreaths or have wreaths mailed to us, and we placed them on the graves. Some of those families were unable to be there for the ceremony. But again, at our state capitol, we always, at each capitol ceremony, we always honor 2 Gold Star families. You know, so I think that's something we will get to at sunset ceremony. You know, and I know we have some in this community, some in this room. Thank you.
We kind of put Troy on the spot. He had spoken to the board, and the board had agreed that we wanted him to present it to the club because the board felt like it was a very worthwhile endeavor for our community and for the club. And then we needed a program, so we said, Troy, how long can you talk? And so we do appreciate him doing that. And I think the members are in agreement that the club can participate in this. So Troy will get us information and what we need to do, and we'll be getting more with that. So